A very good morning to all my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you all are doing good. Let's see what we have got in the Hindu today. We have many articles to go through, so very quickly, this one first. Impatient move. It's about triple talaq. Now, triple talaq, it's a latest, you can say, a version of divorce, which is of course not acceptable. It is unconstitutional. It is illegal as well. This was declared by Supreme Court back in 2017. So keep this thing in mind. Triple talaq basically means, sending a text message and saying that everything is over between us. That this is something that is not acceptable, and it is not how it works. When you are marrying someone and all of a sudden out of the blue you are saying that goodbye tata, this is something, means the law is going to catch you. It's not acceptable. If you look at this triple talaq from a religious point of view, if you go through Quran and what's written in Quran and what's a proper method, then you have this whole process. There is nothing called instant or this triple talaq that you find in Quran. You have to go through a process. For the first time, if things are not going very well between you and your missus, then you have to consult your elders and everyone, and they will try their level best for this compromise. They have to, in fact. If you ask sensible people, they will, of course, they will consult both this people, right, husband and wife, and after that they will get back to their own life, back to normal. Again, if they find that things are not working out, again same process, and the third time will be the final time. This is how it is explained in Quran. This is the proper method. In fact, in Quran, utmost care has also been taken that you should never do something that will be detrimental for the lady to whom you are giving divorce and things like that. So it's not that just men can give divorce, even a woman can give divorce as well, as per Quran. Now, anyways, we are not here for those sort of technicalities. The reason I am discussing this thing is that it should be absolutely clear in our mind that it's not that Quran is saying that you should follow this instant talaq. This is something that I want to clarify. It has a proper process. Now, the main thing that we find here in this bill is that, or this topic is that we have this bill called Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Marriage Bill, also known as Triple Talaq Bill. It was passed in Lok Sabha, but not from the Rajya Sabha, and one of the main reason is that opposition parties are not happy about, or they are concerned about a particular clause, and the clause is really a matter of concern as well, because the bill talks about that this bill, this divorce, this instant divorce is punishable by 3 years prison term and a fine. Now, just imagine condition of a lady who is totally dependent on her husband, and whatever, if something goes wrong with their relationship, and if this husband is going for this triple talaq thing, which is of course illegal and not acceptable. So technically speaking, you cannot get a divorce by just writing down or just uttering this word talaq 3 times. This is not how it works. So there is no, you can say, dissolution of marriage here. Even if husband is saying this word 5,000 times a day or 3,333 times a day, it doesn't matter. They are married couple. Now, if you're sending someone behind the bar, or a person who is the breadwinner, then what will happen with the kid and what will happen with that lady? This is point number 1 that we need to think about. Second thing is that it is totally a civil matter. How can we convert a civil matter into a criminal matter? This is again a very important point that has been raised by opposition parties. Now, Government of India, as yesterday there was this meeting of Union Cabinet, and Union Cabinet has decided to it has basically given its green signal for this ordinance route for this implementation of triple talaq. Now, the thing is, ordinance, as I believe we are aware about this thing, that when your parliament is not in session and if you want to bring out a law, then ordinance is a sort of method, or is a way through which we can control things. But it's a good method, it's a good facility, but sometimes we find that it is abused as well, which is something that is detrimental for our parliamentary process. Because if you want to discuss a particular important bill, then you have to, go through all this debate and dissent, and many a times it looks like government is trying to to fetch some brownie points. But is that the only thing? Means government really trying to fetch brownie point? We are not here to solve the problems between opposition party and government, isn't it? They know very well what to do. But here I am trying to provide you views from both angles, positive and negative. The negative thing is, without discussing that much in the Rajya Sabha, this bill was means now it was not passed. So now government is rather than thinking about these 2 points, here government wants to go ahead with this ordinance. So this is a matter of concern. The other thing from government side, and government is right as well on this thing, that our law minister explained that even after Supreme Court banned this triple talaq in August 2017, we saw 201 cases of this triple talaq. Of course, you know, as I'm repeating again and again, that it's not valid, right? So the marriage will continue, this dissolution will not take place. But then as well, we saw 201 cases of triple talaq. Now, it is totally a social matter between a husband and a wife, and adding criminality to it is going to be a bit rough. You know, it's going to be a bit more harsh. Now, it's a non-bailable offense as well under this new or this provision of this bill. So you won't be granted bail at police station. If you want a bail, then you have to approach a magistrate. The other thing is, it can be a case, or this FIR can be, or a case can be filed by a wife or victim, or any person who is following, you know, her blood relatives. They can file this case as well. Now, burying the hatchet, that means this offense is compoundable. So if husband and wife have a settlement before a magistrate, the case can be withdrawn as well. So that's everything regarding this triple talaq. We have to wait and watch. And one more thing, these items that you can see on your screen, this one and this one, they are part of today's news items. I have clubbed them together with this impatient move editorial. So negative things, very quickly, let's revise. Criminality, adding criminality to a civil matter. And the second thing is that if it's illegal and not valid, then the marriage continues. Then why you need to send someone to prison? And if you will send someone to prison, then what will happen with the people, you know, who were relying on that person, like kids and misses? So these are the things that should be, you know, looked after by the government. Then only we will have a proper, you can say, then we have done something to protect the rights of Muslim women in our country. With this, dear friends, before moving ahead, I would like to inform all of you that our pendrive and tablet courses are available for your preparation. To find out more about it, check out StudyIQ.com. You can download the PDF of today's lecture from my FB page and Twitter handle. Second item that we have is upping the ante. This is about USA and China, but it's not just about USA and China. It is about the whole world, right? When I say whole world, I'm talking about from a business point of view or from trade point of view, because this tit for tat, this tug of war that is going on between USA and China, and mind you, these two countries are the biggest economies in the world. So this fight between them, or this battle or war that is going on, will impact all of us very badly. Now, per year, some $550 billion worth items are imported by USA from China. Generally speaking, what we believe or what we think is that importing is bad, exporting is good. But practically speaking, if you understand how this international trade works, how this bilateral trade works, then, you know, it's not going to be that, like say for example, India, let's take example of India and China. If we think that we can import everything to China, you know, we don't buy any single penny item from China, then this is not how, you know, it's not going to work. This is not how it works. When you are trying to sell, like say for example 10 rupee worth of item to China, then China too will try to sell you something that is worth 10 rupee, or maybe 9 or maybe 8. But of course it will, you know, if you show them your catalog, then be prepared to go through theirs as well. So business is something, or bilateral trade is something that is, you know, that is going on between all these countries here, and particularly these big economies. They should be playing a more leadership role. But what we are seeing here, particularly USA, they are being more and more protectionist. Now, yesterday we were talking about this financial institutions and how they are related with politics, and we can see the product of financial crisis and all those things that took place 10 years ago, and now we see this protectionism and all these things are byproduct of that crisis or recession. Now, China is also going to retaliate because USA has slapped 200 billion worth of Chinese exports with 10% tariff, and USA has said that if China is going to react to this thing, then it will be increased by 25%. China has reacted. It has applied retaliatory taxes to the tune of $60 billion, and now this ball is rolling, and it is rolling and rolling. Its pace is also increasing. There are a few experts out there. They are saying that this war can go on for 20 years of time. One thing that both the countries are missing here, of course, they know it very well, but still, it is more about geopolitics, and there are so many other factors that are working behind this trade war that we are seeing. USA is, as I told you, it is seen as a setting sun, so it is trying its level best to give a good last fight, if I can put it this way, because I'll give you one example. We are all aware about Google. We are all aware about Apple, right? Apple phones, iPhones. Now, if you purchase an iPhone, you will find that you will find this thing written that it's made in China. Now, it's basically a company of USA. It's producing things in China. The same products are sold in India, in Saudi Arabia, in USA. So when USA is adding this sort of tariffs on items that are coming from China, it's not making that logical sense. What it is trying to achieve is it's trying to get rid of this whole globalized supply chain, which is going to be detrimental for USA itself, because nowadays in today's world you cannot say that this particular product is 100% indigenous or produced everything in India. Means, generally speaking, this is how it doesn't work like that. You have, if you're creating, or like let's take example of Indian watches, right? Wrist watches. Now, do you think that we are making everything here? No. Even today, that machine that you have, that watch machine, we import it. Most of them are coming from Switzerland. So every product will have something that is produced somewhere else. And if you want to know more about this whole topic, then follow my PIB analysis of the day. It will follow this lecture, or maybe a bit later on, but today, somewhere around in afternoon, you will find this PIB analysis. And I'm going to talk about, in this PIB analysis, I'm going to talk about import and export and this whole thing, and what is the way out for India. Of course, these items are not covered in this small editorial, but I have a special topic, so do check that one out and let me know what you think about it. We are going to talk about a very important multilateral regime. So what I was talking about is that today we know that we are interdependent, we are hyper connected, and if someone is trying to get rid of this thing, then it's not going to work. Practically speaking, that particular country will fall down. Moving on to another item, a very interesting viewpoint as a different thing that we learn from this article, right? It is on data protection, or bringing data under the rule of law. Now, it is the law that provides people, especially the weaker sections, various protections and ensures justice. Without law, you know that if we don't have law, then there are so many people out there, they will start stabbing each other, or they will start killing each other. So law works as a deterrence, of course, no doubt. Now, when it comes to today's law, and we are living in digital society, so many things are created by us. You purchase something online, you are surfing certain types of websites, you are making this many phone calls, and everything is generating a trace or data. This data is collected, it is analyzed. There are sophisticated supercomputers where if this data is passed through that thing, then it will come out with a sort of psychological analysis of your personality, and based on that thing you can be offered various different products and services. We have talked about this thing earlier on as well, just for a sort of refreshing your memory. I'm talking about this thing. So you know how it works. When you visit a supermarket, things are placed in such a way that it will it will psychologically, it will work as a pull factor for you to buy more. You are heading, or you are in a supermarket to purchase a milk or maybe something else, something very specific. But whilst you are coming out, you think that you need a chocolate as well, and you need this thing or that thing, X, Y, Z, and finally you find that you were there for purchasing something that was just 100 rupees, but now you have done a shopping of 1000 or maybe 500 rupees. So this is part of business, this is part of marketing, you can say, or retail management. This example of this supermarket, we have gone through this Facebook and Cambridge Analytica, that how they collected this everything, the things that you like and the food that you are eating, everything, all this data is collected and processed, as I told you. And once they know what kind of person you are, based on that thing, they will customize your advertisement. That means customized advertisement, you will be exposed. We think that we are watching advertisement. No, in fact we are put in a situation where we have no option but to watch an advertisement. And the most unethical thing is that these companies are using our own data, our own life. They are observing us, and they are fooling us. They are injecting some opinions on us. I hope it's making sense here. May it be political opinion, whether this person is good or bad, all these things. There are so many companies working in this area. So it's very important that misuse of our data or what we are doing is not done. At present it is being misused, and in our country we have this privacy as our fundamental right. So it is the duty of state government to protect our privacy, because our data is collected by so many companies. Now the other thing is, as far as data is concerned, generally speaking, we find this argument, this black and white thing, good or bad, right? It is limited to only these two things. But this article is talking about, it's giving us a new viewpoint. See, what happens is we generate different kinds of data. So different types of data basically means that we have personal data, then we create corporate data, data concerning common business activities, military, banking, health, education, agriculture, and so on and so forth. Now the thing is, community data as well as private yet public interest data can be used, mixed and matched to create something good for the whole society. Like I'll give you a small example, like people traveling on a particular road, and then you can go through this taxis, taxis, if they are collecting data, then, or companies like Uber and Ola and other companies who are in this business, then government can access or should be allowed to access this sort of data for the betterment of the whole society. But there should be some limits as well, like they cannot, for betterment of society or in the name of betterment of society, government cannot come and collect data, or they cannot snoop our telephone and our emails and things like that. Now this good and bad, the good thing about, the main point here in this article is, it is talking about this good and bad, as well as it is talking about, we need to have different categories. We need to come out with a proper chart. In this chart, it should be clear what are the items that will stay local. That means things that will, or data that will not be shared with other countries. Other countries cannot take it away, because what is happening is that when this law is out of reach, right, when all this data is collected and secured and kept in USA or China or other countries, then we have no access to it. So we cannot implement this breach of trust, and if there is something illegal, then we cannot do anything about it. So we have to clarify what are the items that will stay here in our country, or data. Second thing is, there are items that we have to share, whether we like it or not. We have to share, because if you want the same information from other country, then you have to share that thing with other country. There are a few gray areas as well that will fall between this items that should be shared, items that should not be shared. There will be some gray. There are in fact some gray areas. So what we need is, rather than just to talk of focusing on good and bad, we need to come out with a chart on this thing, right? What should be shared, what not should be shared, what is personal data, what are the items that will fall under this common data, community data, and private yet public interest data, and things like that. After that, we would be able to, to go ahead and, sign some treaties or declarations that these are the things that everyone should follow. or else we are not going to benefit out of this. We are only few few giants will make the most, and we all will become more sort of victim of this giants. Now you have this, how far does a PhD goes? It's talking about how PhD students are not finding a proper job. They have to adjust with things that are, you can say, they are overqualified for. And so that's basically in this article here. This one is talking about this Professor Sai Baba. He was caught on the charges of having some associations with Naxals. And here this one is about preparing for the floods. We have talked about preparing for the floods about Kerala many a times now. So I'll just give you a quick recap as it's a new opportunity, if we take it this way. New opportunity for us, for our Kerala, that we can start from the scratch, right? For our country as well, it's a new opportunity. So we should, come out with a proper resilient infrastructure. I'm not talking about infrastructure that is, infrastructure here means not just physical infrastructure that should make us a bit less vulnerable. Human beings, particularly, we should understand that we have to work with environment. This is one of the most important things. All the things that we are saying here in our this whole nature, this climate change and other things that are going on, and the severity and capacity and intensity is getting severe and severe day by day. So it's all because of we are encroaching this natural environment. We are destroying natural environment, and we have to work with nature and all these things that we have already discussed. And we should train people, right? We should have proper disaster management training in school, in colleges, everything. At least in one family, you should have one person who knows these do's and don'ts about various different disasters. So this is how we can save more lives and things like that. Now moving on to another item. This is about this tiger. Beg your pardon, what's going on with this one? Okay, something went wrong with this one. Anyways, so this one is about this death of a tigress, right? I would rather say murder of a tigress, because this tigress, it was alleged that in past 2 years she had killed a dozen people. And the thing is that all these kills have taken place within the designated forest areas. These things have not taken place, these murders or these kills, right? We haven't found them in civilized area or in societies. Of course, when you go in a jungle, you have a tiger out there, then what do you expect from a tiger, right? Now, man-eater or man-eating tiger, this is a legacy of British Raj. We have to understand this thing, that tiger is a wild animal. If you cross this territorial limits, then you are in a danger zone. The other thing is, why tiger is hunting or killing people? Because we are, first of all, right, knocking their doors. We are right standing out of their den. So then this is something that this tigress was also looking after, raising 2 cubs, and killing her means you have killed these cubs as well, indirectly. 5-year-old tigress, it takes ages, 5 years is nearly, she was in her peak, and it takes so much of training and everything. If you follow this geography channel and other channels, then we understand that a cub has to go through so much of training, so much risks and everything, then you reach here and become an independent tiger. So killing it is something that is inhumane. And the most sad portion is that Supreme Court dismissed this plea filed by Earth Brigade Foundation to overturn the order to shoot a 5-year-old tigress, but sadly Supreme Court overturned it. And this is a sad reality of our world. We know that tiger is an indicator or indicator species. It indicates this health of a jungle or a forest. If tiger is all right, if tiger is flourishing, that means the whole ecosystem is doing all right, because tiger is a top predator. So sadly, it's very sad. It's a matter of shame as well. But what can we do? She is gone. I hope we learn something from this incident. We could have caught her and transferred her to some other area, but no, we decided to dig a bullet in her head. News items, we have this people that you can see on your screen, right? They are artists, and they are expert in this thing called they are called rafugars, right? Rafugar, rafu, that's a word. I'm not sure whether you're ever about this thing, that rafu is if your clothes are toned, then you can have a rafu, a sort of small cloth patch that will fix things for time being, or it's a fashion as well nowadays, as you all know. So these people, right, they were appreciated, and they used to work for Mughal emperors as well. Because of this skill they have, they can repair this damaged shawls made of shahtush and pashmina. But now, sadly, this traditional skill it's dying. But the government of India is trying its level best. In Jammu and Kashmir Department of Archives, Archaeology and Museums and Indian National Trust for Art and Cultural Heritage, together they are trying to revive this skill. We don't want to lose this skill, of course. Moving on to another item. Can't curb liberty on conjecture, said the Supreme Court on this Maharashtra government and this social activist arrest case. Afghanistan ambassador to India quits. He says that he has to go back to his country to serve the people and his country, because things are not going very well in this Afghanistan. Now, NRC to process claims from September 25th. The exercise will continue for 60 days, has been said by Supreme Court. Woman gang raped by 4 men in Balabgar, and Mr. Modi and President of Afghanistan, they had a word with each other about bilateral relationship, about regional security, and we were also told about or briefed about this Taliban. Basically, India never talks with any terrorist organization, and Afghanistan government is going to have a chat with this Taliban. So Afghanistan is explaining us that Taliban is part of, or the people of, they are part of this Afghan society, so they cannot be ignored and things like that. Now you have this project. Of course, we are going to find news items about it on 22nd September, but this was a curtain raiser, so I thought let me share it with you guys. South Korea has this policy called New Southern Policy. It's our Act-East policy, and there's a New Southern policy is synergy. It will create synergy between both these nations here. And South Korea wants to elevate ties with India. Now, head of this commission chairman, 15th Finance Commission Chairman N.K. Singh, has said that there are so many schemes, centrally sponsored scheme. They look beautiful, but practicality or utility is not that good. So we need to wind them up. And you have this advertisement of Amravati, a latest city of our country that is being constructed in this Andhra Pradesh at present, and is going to looks beautiful, right? Of course, it's a sort of image, but let's hope that we will find this sort of latest city in this Amravati. And you have some other information about it. So the reason why I have added this thing on board is not for advertisement, of course. It's more for infrastructure. Think about it. This sort of cities we need: green cities, clean cities. You can see here gardens and walking area and so many things. This should be our future cities. It should be present cities, but sadly we have to leave it on future. These are your vocabs. Go through them, Google them, search them, use your dictionary, practice them, and answer for your map based question is Meghalaya. And I'm not going to leave it here. Can you give me the name of states with which or types of border this Meghalaya has? International, national. If it is international, then with which country? If it is national or state boundaries, then which states, with which states it is sharing its border. Here it's going to be easy one. I know that the name of this state of our country, but anyways, I'm not going to leave it here. Give me the name of capital, as well as can you give me the name of this bays here, right? What do you call this bay, and what is the name of this bay here? Then border sharing, states, countries, UTs, and important geographical lines, if any lines, longitudes or latitudes, if are passing from this place here, then give me the name of that thing as well. So you have to go through it, do 5-10 minutes work on that particular map, and these are your questions of the day. That's everything in today's discussion. Enjoy your studies.